1. Building the Panama Canal. The Panama Canal is an engineering marvel that connects the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. It was built between 1904 and 1914 and required the excavation of millions of cubic meters of earth and rock, as well as the construction of massive locks and dams. The project was plagued by problems, including disease, landslides, and engineering challenges, but was eventually completed and has since become a vital shipping route. 2. Moving the Great Sphinx of Giza. The Great Sphinx of Giza is a massive statue located in Egypt that dates back to the Old Kingdom period. In the early 20th century, the statue was threatened by rising groundwater levels and was in danger of collapsing. To save it, a team of engineers and workers undertook a massive effort to dig a trench around the statue and lift it onto a platform using hydraulic jacks. The statue was then moved to a new location where it could be stabilized and preserved. 3. Building the Trans-Alaska Pipeline System. The Trans-Alaska Pipeline System is a 800-mile-long pipeline that transports crude oil from Prudhoe Bay on the north slope of Alaska to the port of Valdez on the southern coast. It was built in the 1970s and required the construction of a series of pumping stations, oil storage facilities, and other infrastructure. The project was plagued by harsh weather, logistical challenges, and environmental concerns, but was eventually completed and remains a vital part of Alaska's economy. 4. Moving the London Bridge to Lake Havasu City. In the 1960s, the London Bridge in England was sinking into the Thames River and in danger of collapsing. To save it, the bridge was purchased by an American businessman who had it dismantled and transported to Lake Havasu City, Arizona, where it was reassembled. The project required the careful dismantling and transportation of thousands of individual stones, as well as the construction of a new foundation and support structure. 5. Transporting the Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Liberty is an iconic symbol of freedom and democracy that was gifted to the United States by France in the late 19th century. The statue was transported from France to New York City in 1885 and required the use of a specially designed ship to carry the massive statue across the Atlantic. The statue was then assembled on a pedestal on Liberty Island in New York Harbor, where it has become one of the most recognizable landmarks in the world. 6. Moving the Tsukiji Fish Market. The Tsukiji Fish Market in Tokyo, Japan is the largest wholesale fish market in the world, handling over 2,000 tons of fish and seafood every day. In 2018, the market was moved from its original location to a new site in Toyosu, a few miles away. The move required the construction of a new market, as well as the installation of new infrastructure for transportation, storage, and waste management. The project was also complicated by concerns about contamination from the former site, which had been in use for over 80 years. 7 feet. Building the Channel. The Channel, also known as the Channel Tunnel, is a 31-mile-long rail tunnel that connects England and France beneath the English Channel. The tunnel was built in the 1980s and 1990s and required the excavation of millions of tons of rock and soil, as well as the construction of sophisticated ventilation, lighting, and safety systems. The project was complicated by the need to maintain air quality and pressure, as well as concerns about potential collisions between trains traveling in opposite directions. 8. Moving the Apollo lunar modules. The Apollo lunar modules, which were used by NASA to transport astronauts to the Moon and back during the Apollo missions in the 1960s and 1970s, were extremely difficult to transport. The modules had to be transported from the assembly plant to the launch site on specialized trailers, which were then loaded onto transport planes for delivery to Cape Canaveral in Florida. The modules were then attached to the Saturn V rockets that would carry them into space, requiring careful handling and transportation to avoid damage. 9. Building the Erie Canal. The Erie Canal is a 363-mile-long waterway that connects the Hudson River to Lake Erie and the Great Lakes. It was built in the early 19th century and required the construction of locks, aqueducts, and other infrastructure. The project was complicated by the need to navigate difficult terrain, including steep hills and rocky outcroppings, as well as the need to excavate millions of cubic yards of earth and rock using primitive tools and methods. 10. Moving the giant Buddhas of Bamiyan. The giant Buddhas of Bamiyan were 2 massive statues carved into the cliffs of the Bamiyan Valley in Afghanistan. They were destroyed by the Taliban in 2001, but there have been efforts to reconstruct them using digital technology and 3D printing. However, the project is complicated by the remote location of the site, as well as security concerns in the region.